My beloved child, pause for a moment and listen carefully, because what I am about to say could save your soul, your life, and even the lives of those you love. Say no before everything becomes too late. I do not say this to scare you, but to awaken you. Because this world is full of sweet invitations that lead to death. The door you think is an opportunity is sometimes the very threshold of being lost. A choice that seems harmless today could lead you farther away from me each day, one step at a time, until you no longer hear my voice. You do not fail because of a lack of effort. You stumble because of a lack of discernment. And discernment begins with a firm no. No to compromising with sin. No to chasing the applause of the world. No to choosing the shorter path if it takes you away from me. I did not come to forbid, but to warn. Because I see the things you have not yet seen. I hear the distant calls you have not yet recognized are lurking. You do not need to understand everything to obey. You just need to believe that I love you enough not to lead you into darkness. Remember, silence in the face of temptation is not peace, it is passive agreement. And every time you stay silent like that, my voice will grow fainter in your heart. So today, when I knock on the door of your heart, I am not asking you for a lofty promise. I am asking you one simple thing. Are you willing to say no to what is wrong in order to say yes to a life full of light, truth, and peace? If you can still hear my voice, if your heart still stirs when I call, then don't wait any longer. Because every moment of delay is a step closer to the edge of the abyss. And every time you boldly say no, heaven rejoices because you have just stepped out of the enemy's trap. My beloved child, listen carefully to every word I whisper to you today. Because in this moment, when your heart is longing for guidance, I am not just near, I am speaking to you. Not through thunder or a mighty wind, but through the sacred stillness in the midst of chaos, where my presence becomes undeniable. Do you know why I want you to learn how to say no early? It's not because I want to limit you, but because I see ahead what you cannot yet see. When you stand before a door that seems good but isn't built on truth, I want you to have the courage to refuse it. Not every door leads to life. Some doors open to years of wandering, where faith slowly withers like a candle without wax. I've seen you walk through painful seasons, moments where you didn't know whether to keep going or stop. In those moments I wasn't far away. I walked with you, step by step, breath by breath. And today I want you to realize, if you don't learn to say no to distraction, to sweet but empty temptations, you will unknowingly say yes to being lost. I did not create you to merely exist. I formed you to live abundantly, to live with meaning. Many people pray without realizing that the very place of prayer is where they are refined. They think I only listen when they need something, but the truth is, I delight when you come to me simply to be with me. Prayer is not a wish list. It is a living conversation, a flowing connection between my heart and your soul. And when you maintain that connection, not through perfect words, but through sincerity, you will begin to hear me more clearly, not with your ears, but with your spirit. I see those moments when you want to give up. When you're weary and just want peace, I hear the sighs you don't even speak aloud. You think I'm silent, but in that quiet, I am giving you patience, endurance, and deep understanding that no school can teach. I know what you're hoping for, but I know even better what you truly need. That's why I don't answer every prayer the way you want, but always in the way that's best for you. There are times when you feel like you're standing at a crossroads, where every path is covered in fog. In those moments, you don't need to see the whole road. You just need to hold my hand. I will not let you step wrong if you're walking with me. My guidance doesn't come with shouting, but with a gentle touch on your mind, a peaceful thought amid chaos, a door that opens at the right time, a person who shows up like an answer. Remember this: waiting is not delay. It's time I'm using to arrange everything for good. When you don't see movement, it doesn't mean I'm not moving. Sometimes the greatest things are done in the quietest ways. I work through details you consider small, a random conversation, an unexpected delay, a dream that makes you reconsider. Don't measure my value by your emotions. Your feelings change, but my presence does not. When you can't feel me, don't assume I've left. That's when I'm working deep inside, where faith is forged and maturity is born. It's in the darkness that roots grow deep, and it's during winter that a tree prepares to bloom brighter than ever before. I see the exhaustion in your eyes, but I also see the fire in your soul that hasn't gone out. Don't let fear extinguish what I've breathed into you. Don't let lies cause you to doubt your very purpose. When you feel weak, that's when you're most ready to be lifted. I don't seek perfection, I seek surrender. When you come to me with all your wounds, I don't reject you. I hold you close, wipe your tears, and remind you that you still belong to me. Sometimes the right advice comes from those you least expect. Keep your heart soft to listen. Teaching doesn't just come from scripture, but from everyday life. A trusting child, a persevering elder, a loyal friend. When you keep your heart open, I will use everything to teach you, even the waiting, the failure, and the things you thought were losses. I want you to learn something deeply important. True peace doesn't come when everything is calm. Peace comes when you place your trust in me, even when everything around you is shaking. That's the kind of peace that surpasses understanding. And when you have it, no one can take it from you. It doesn't lie in circumstances, it lives in faith. Let gratitude be your lifestyle, not your reaction. When you start seeing grace in every breath, every meal, every morning you wake up, then even on your darkest days you will still have light to walk by. Gratitude doesn't erase pain, but it places pain in a wider frame, where you realize, no matter what, I am still a good and loving God. When you learn to say no to something, it's not a loss. It's making room to say yes to something better. An unhealthy relationship, a rushed decision, a small compromise can pull you away from the plan I've prepared for you. But every time you say no to what is wrong, heaven rejoices, because you just chose to stay closer to me. My child, I'm not angry when you question, when you doubt, or when you feel sorrow. I'm not afraid of your real emotions. Tell me, through messy words, through tears, or even through silence. I understand it all, because I am not only your God. I am your Father, your faithful friend, the refuge you can run to anytime. I know you've been hurt by the silence of people you trusted, but I'm not like them. I do not change. My promises remain unshaken. When I say I love you, it's not based on what you've done. It's based on who you are. My beloved child, created in my image, chosen before you were born. Don't fear the seasons of waiting, because in the waiting, I am deepening your roots. I am expanding your vision and strengthening your faith, so that when harvest comes, you won't just be ready to receive, you'll be ready to protect it. What grows quickly fades quickly, but what is nurtured with patience endures. Keep your eyes on me, not on the waves, because when Peter looked at the waves, he began to sink. But when he cried out, "Lord, save me," I immediately reached out my hand. You too, no matter how far you've looked the wrong way, just call my name and I will come. I am never too far. One sincere prayer is enough to shake heaven. Each morning come to me before the world pulls you away. Give me your first moment, like an invitation. Lord, walk with me today. You will be amazed at how my presence fills your day, in your words, your decisions, and in a peace no one can explain. My dear child, you are being prepared for something greater. Don't rush. Don't give up. Say no to the things that are not from me. Say yes to my presence, to my word, to the guidance that never fails. I am holding your hand, and from this day forward, we will walk together. Not in haste, but with certainty. Because where you are headed is not just a destination, it is the fulfillment of the promise I spoke over you from the very beginning. My beloved child, there is one thing I want you to remember for the rest of your life. What you choose to refuse today will shape what you are allowed to step into tomorrow. Not every invitation is an opportunity. Not every open door leads to light. The enemy doesn't come to you with a fierce face, but often in the disguise of a lure, a comfortable choice, a sweet word, a step that feels easy but strays from the truth. That's why I want you to learn how to pause, ask me, and only then proceed. I've never regretted a timely refusal, but countless souls have grieved over one thoughtless yes. If you know something is wrong, be firm. Don't prolong, don't delay. A small crack in your faith can become a gateway to a flood. Say no while your mind is still clear, while your heart is still guarded by me. Because once emotion takes over, clarity becomes clouded. I know you're tired of having to persist, but it is in that very persistence that I am training you to become my instrument. No warrior becomes strong without training. No ship is made sturdy without facing the storm. So, if you're in the middle of strong winds, know that I am reinforcing you. Don't be afraid. I am still at the helm. You ask me, Lord, why haven't I seen the answer? And I say, because you're not ready to carry it yet. The good thing at the wrong time can still break you. I love you too much to hand you a gift that would crush you. I prepare the blessing alongside preparing you. That is why I teach you to wait, to refuse impatience, to obey even when you don't have all the facts. Faith is obedience without needing the full picture. I still remember those nights you cried alone, those mornings you forced yourself to get up when you didn't want to, those days you pushed through with a forced smile. And it was in those seemingly meaningless days that I poured oil into your lamp. No one saw it, but I did. No one praised it, but I acknowledged it. You've been faithful in the little things, and because of that, I am leading you to greater ones. When you live close to me, you'll begin to understand that some no's from me are not rejection. They are protection. Some doors I close are acts of mercy. Because if you had walked through them, you would have lost yourself. There were times when you didn't understand why I took away what you loved. But tomorrow, you'll see that I was keeping you from something you didn't even realize was dangerous. I'm teaching you to walk in the light, not just with your eyes, but by faith. That means even when everyone says, go for it, if I say don't, then listen. Don't befriend the wrong just because you fear being alone. Don't follow the crowd just because you fear being lost. There will be paths I lead you down that no one else understands. But those are the very paths that will take you where you truly belong. Always remember, what I want is not perfection, but sincerity. When you fall, don't run from me. Run to me. Because I didn't come to accuse you. I came to heal you. I'm not surprised by your mistakes, because I know you better than you know yourself. But I wait for repentance. I long to embrace you, to wipe your tears and say, you are still mine. You think prayer is the act of the strong. But no, my dear one, prayer is where the weak find strength. When you don't know what to say, I still understand. When you sit in silence with tears, I still listen. Because I don't need words to understand your heart. A gentle breath, a groan, a glance toward heaven, that's enough to capture heaven's attention. Don't let busyness steal the sacred time between you and me. Every morning, just a few minutes, sit still and say, Lord, I'm here. Leave the rest to me. When you begin your day with me, you'll find the strength you need is already waiting. My arm has never grown weak. My mercy never runs dry. And my peace is not like the world's. It holds steady in the storm. Dare to dream with me. I will never fault you for desiring something great, so long as you invite me into it. If I'm at the center of that dream, I will open the way. But if I am not invited, then even if you succeed, it won't be complete. Let me be the one who lays the foundation. Let me write the story. Because when I'm the author, no one can erase the ending. I know this world is full of noise, and you often feel confused by countless opinions, advice, and voices. But my voice is always gentle. It comes in stillness. Learn to be quiet amidst the noise so you can hear me. While others are speaking, learn to listen. While others are running, learn to pause. While others lose heart, learn to pray. That is how you will live differently. When you learn to stay close to me, your choices will begin to change. Not because you're forcing them, but because your love for me will naturally create that change. You don't have to try hard to be righteous. You just need to stay near me. Because my presence will transform you from within. Just as iron glows when near fire, your soul near me will burn with light. My beloved, I have seen the tears you've hidden, and I've collected each one in my bottle. They are not in vain. They are proof of your faithfulness. One day, those very tears will become streams of healing for others. I will use your story to lift up those who have fallen. So don't be ashamed of your past. Let it become proof of grace. You once thought you were broken, but in truth, I was reshaping you. The cracks you carry are the places where my light shines through. Don't hide them. Let the world see that you once fell but were lifted by a love that never lets go. And tell that story. Tell it through your life, through forgiveness, through the embrace you offer even to those who once hurt you. Remember, Miracles aren't just things that happen out there to someone else. A miracle is when you get up each morning and still believe I'm here. It's when you forgive without an apology. When you speak the truth, even if it costs you. When you dare to say no to the wrong, even if it leaves you alone. These small acts are quiet miracles, but heaven remembers them. I am building something lasting in you. Don't rush. Don't compare. Every story has its own timing, and you are exactly where I need you to be. Not late, not early. Just keep walking with me, one step a day, one prayer each morning, one small act of faithfulness repeated. My precious child, I know there are moments when you ask yourself, how can I know what is right? How do I know when to say no without regret? I tell you this. Right and wrong aren't always clearly visible in the eyes of the world. But if you learn to listen to me, your heart will sense my gentle warnings, subtle yet unmistakable. I won't shout. I won't force you. I whisper through the uneasiness in your spirit, through that hesitation in your steps, through restless nights, or a seemingly casual word from someone you love. All these are me knocking on the door of your heart, urging you to pause and examine. Some may think saying no is being rigid. But in a world where boundaries blur, faithfulness and integrity are the light that guides your path. When you dare to say no to a relationship full of calculation, you are protecting your heart from unnecessary wounds. When you say no to an easy invitation, you are opening a way toward a road with more value and depth. Don't be afraid of saying no. I am with you in everything you let go of because of your trust in me. I see your longing for something greater. You dream of doing something meaningful, of living a life that isn't wasted. You're right. I didn't create you to waste your days, but to be a light in the darkness, a fortress in the storm. But to be that, you must learn to remain faithful. Faithful in the silence, faithful in the slow guidance, faithful in the little things that no one applauds. Do you remember the widow in the Bible? She gave just 2 small coins, and many thought she gave nothing. But I said, she gave more than anyone because she gave out of lack, not abundance. Likewise, when you say no to something wrong, even though your heart wants to say yes, you are offering me something more precious than gold. Surrender. Absolute trust. I don't demand that you perfect every action, but I long for your heart to choose me every day. And each time you place me above your own desires, something within you is healed. It's a healing deeper than any outward miracle. The healing of a soul that has learned how to listen, how to love, how to let go, and how to stand firm. My child, never forget that a timely no can save your entire life. Some only wanted to try once and were pulled far away from who they were. Some compromised once and lost a lifetime's worth of credibility, and they're those like you, struggling between what they want and what is right. I know that's hard, but I promise, if you choose what is right, I will give you strength in double portion to keep moving forward. There will be things you won't understand immediately. But one day you'll look back and say, "Thank you, Lord, for not letting me walk through that door. Thank you for teaching me how to say no when everyone else was saying yes." You'll realize what seemed like loss back then was actually a sacred deliverance. Don't chase after what comes easy. What comes easy also leaves easily. True love requires patience. True promotion requires a solid foundation. And spiritual maturity requires self-control and clear discernment. When you choose the narrow road, the one few take, you're choosing to walk with me, and you will never be alone on that journey. I want to speak more with you about prayer. Don't think I only listen when you say the right words in the right way. I hear every whisper, every quiet thought, every silent tear. You don't need to prepare to speak with me. You just need to come. Like a child running into their father's arms, you don't need permission. Just come, and I will always receive you. There will be times when you feel nothing. No trembling, no tears, no intense emotions. But don't be mistaken. It is in those quietest prayers that your faithfulness is being forged most powerfully. That's faithfulness not based on feelings, but on trust. And that very trust is the unshakable foundation of your life. Every day, fix your mind on truth. Don't let lies take over your soul. When someone tells you that you're not good enough, remember that I chose you before you proved anything. When someone says you're too late, Remember that I am not bound by time. When someone tells you that you can't change, remember that I am the one who transforms all things. If you're willing to surrender, you used to fear you weren't strong enough to stay on the path. But I didn't call you to be strong on your own. I called you to lean on me. Every no you speak is a declaration that says, Lord, I trust you have something better for me. And that declaration makes the forces of darkness tremble because they know your faith is alive, growing, and lighting up the world. My beloved, there's something deep I want you to hold on to. What you reject today may become what you are forever grateful for tomorrow. A relationship, a career, a temptation, a careless word. Always seek the light I shine before you step forward. Always let me guide you through every decision, because sometimes the smallest turn leads to an entirely different destiny. And when you fail, because you will at times, don't run from me. Don't punish yourself. Come back. I'm not surprised. I'm not disgusted. I only long for you to return and say, I was wrong. That's all. I will hold you again like the very first day, like the father who ran to embrace his lost son. The feast will be prepared again. Joy will overflow, and you will be restored. Don't hold inside the things you're wrestling with. Don't pretend to be okay. Bring everything to me, your weakness, anger, shame, confusion. I can carry it all. You don't need to fix yourself before coming to me. It is by coming to me that you will be healed and transformed. And you will learn that surrender isn't defeat, it's the beginning of a true life. When you learn to say no to the wrong voices, you're also saying yes to the voices of life. The voice that calls for forgiveness instead of resentment. The voice of mercy instead of bitterness. The whisper of encouragement instead of criticism. The more you choose these, the more you become like me, not because you have to, but because you want to. I am pleased with every small step you take in faith. Every day you choose to be kind when no one sees. Every time you hold your tongue instead of reacting. Every time you help someone without expecting a return. These things, heaven records them. I see every small act and smile because I see the growth within you. That is true glory. My child, one day when you look back on it all, the times you said no, even though your heart longed to say yes. The moments you stayed silent when you wanted to scream, the nights you prayed when it felt like no one was listening, you will see, nothing was wasted. All of it became the foundation for a meaningful life. A life that causes others to look and say, that person lived with God. My precious child, if there is one thing I want you to carry with you for the rest of your life, it is this. True love always knows how to set boundaries. Not because boundaries are barriers, but because boundaries are the borders that protect the soul. When you learn to say no, you're not just rejecting the wrong, you're protecting what is sacred. Just like a gardener prunes the branches so the tree can bear better fruit, every timely no in your spiritual walk is a form of holy pruning. Sometimes what you need to say no to isn't blatant sin, it's the almost right. A relationship that isn't wrong, but lacks me in it. A prestigious career opportunity that requires you to compromise your values. A group of cheerful friends slowly pulling you away from prayer. These are the hardest things to reject because no one will criticize you for saying yes. But right there, my voice becomes clearer than ever. Will you dare to choose the better portion? Even if it means walking alone for a while, with no applause, with no one understanding? I want you to remember this. Every time you choose me over comfort, your soul grows. Every time you prioritize my presence over chasing the temporary, you come closer to your true self. I did not create you to live like a passerby in this world. I made you to live as a citizen of the eternal kingdom. Strong, steadfast, kind, unshaken by circumstances. I also want you to know, whatever you give up for my name, I will repay 100-fold, in ways you never expected. Maybe not instantly, maybe not in the form you imagined, but always perfectly. Some have let go of the wrong relationships and were given beautiful spiritual families. Some turned down dishonest wealth and received a deep peace that money could never buy. Others rejected temptation and became a safe place for those lost in darkness. Don't measure outcomes too quickly. A farmer doesn't sow seed today and expect harvest tomorrow morning. Likewise, when you sow obedience, the harvest will come at the time I appoint. Don't be discouraged if others don't understand your decisions. Don't waver if doing the right thing costs you friends, opportunities, or status, because what you're holding on to is what no one can take away. My approval, peace that is independent of circumstances, and the maturity of your soul. Do you remember Abraham? He obeyed me and left his homeland, not knowing where he was going. That was a bold no to comfort and stability, but that very no paved the way for a holy nation. Do you remember Joseph? He said no to Potiphar's wife, even though it landed him in prison. Yet that very refusal led him to be elevated as prime minister, saving an entire nation from famine. And you are writing a story just like theirs. Every small choice today is preparing you for a destiny you never dared to imagine. So when you stand at a crossroads, don't ask, what's in it for me? Ask, will this keep me close to God? If the answer is no, then you know what must be refused, even if it breaks your heart, even if it's hard, even if no one supports you. Because you're not living to please people, you're living to please the one who died for you. My beloved, learn to distinguish between my voice and the whispers of the enemy. The enemy will always urge you to compromise, justify, delay. But I will remind you of truth, even when it's hard to hear. Yet I always speak to you in love. And when you listen to me, you'll discover. Truth doesn't shame you, it sets you free. There will be times you're weary of always doing the right thing. I understand. Doing right in this world feels like swimming upstream. But you're not swimming alone. I am right beside you, pushing you forward, holding your hand when you're tired, and breathing new strength into you with every breath. Don't give up, because the reward for faithfulness is not just found in this life. It's found in the joyful gaze of your Father in heaven, when you finally reach the finish line. Some rewards don't come in material form. It's the peaceful sleep that comes from knowing you lived rightly. It's the reflection in the mirror you don't have to avoid. It's the life that fears no tomorrow because today's seeds were rightly sown. And more than anything, it's the deep assurance that you didn't waste a single breath I gave you. My precious one, keep sowing. Sow in tears if you must. Sow in loneliness if that's what it takes. But don't stop sowing obedience, honesty, kindness, sacrifice. For I am the Lord of the harvest, and not a single drop of sweat shed for my name will ever be wasted. When that day comes, the day you've run your race and you look back, I want you to smile and say, I didn't just exist, I lived for the one who loved me unconditionally. And then you will hear me say, not with judgment, but with radiant love, well done, good and faithful servant, enter into the joy of your master. And now, at this very moment, I am still knocking at the door of your heart. I'm not loud, I'm not in a rush. I simply ask you gently, do you still believe me? Are you willing to lay down what doesn't belong to me? Will you dare to live differently, love differently, choose differently, because of me? If so, then say yes to me, and no to everything that hinders your nearness to me. Because I have chosen you, I am still choosing you, and nothing can change the love I have for you. So walk forward, my little lamb. Walk with courage, walk with trust, walk with gratitude, because your future is not in the hands of this world, it is in mine. The hands that were once nailed for you, and now open to lift you every day. I am here, I am always here, and I will never leave you. Amen. My dear child, if there is only one thing you remember throughout this journey, let it be this. A timely no can save an entire life. The world may not applaud you for rejecting it, but I will. I applaud the quiet courage, the choices no one understands, the silent sacrifices made to preserve the holiness within your heart. Because you're not just living for today, you're living for an eternal kingdom. Every choice you make today will echo into eternity. I do not promise that saying no will always be easy. There will be tears, there will be loneliness, but I promise you this, you will never walk alone. Every step you take against the current is a step beside me. And when I walk with you, even the desert will bloom. You don't need to try to please the whole world. You only need to please me, because the reward I have for you is far beyond anything you could ever imagine. Not just success, but true freedom in your soul. A soul no longer afraid, no longer burdened by guilt, no longer pretending to be okay. A soul at rest in my unconditional love. So from this day forward, hesitate no more. Learn to say no to what is wrong, to emotions that mislead, to the pressures of this world. Every time you reject what doesn't come from me, you are choosing yourself again. You are rewriting the story of your life, chapter by chapter, until the day you meet me in glory. And on that day, I will look at you, smile, and say, thank you for daring to say no at the right time, so you could hold on to your yes to me until the very end. I love you. I have always loved you, and I am waiting for you, every second, every minute, until you choose to return. Amen.